This week, we catch up with BioWare to find out what's going on in Dragon Age Inquisition. Jonny Robot spends some time with the evil within and is surprised by what he finds. And Marcus Smith from Insomniac Games chats to us about Sunset Overdrive. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week I would like to ask you a question. Have you ever wanted to play a game as a piece of bread? Well, obviously someone wanted to, because Bossa Studios has confirmed that's exactly what its upcoming game is about. Bossa, the team behind Surgeon Simulator, has revealed plans for the beautiful story of one slice of bread's epic and emotional journey as it embarks upon a quest to become toasted. We don't know much else about the game, named I Am Bread, beyond the fact that it has a ridiculous convoluted control scheme and keeps track of both edibility and deliciousness, but we do know that it looks like it could be rather fun. Something else that's rather fun is World of Warcraft, and the fun has just got a whole lot easier to access. Warlords of Draenor is the game's 5th expansion set, and it's hitting next month. To make sure that you're all up to date before the arrival of the Iron Horde, Blizzard has given all of the previous expansions to World of Warcraft subscribers, even if you've let your account lapse. That means that you'll be able to check out the content from the Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, and Mists of Pandaria, all part of the lead up to the launch of Warlords in November. In other news, we have details on 3 games that are making the leap to new platforms, starting with one that has already landed. Peggle 2 was released earlier this year for Xbox One and then made it to Xbox 360 shortly after. While there's still no news of a PC version, this blend of pinball, pachinko and pool is now available on PS4, so you can get your ball-dropping Beethoven on. We're not sure that this next one is really a surprise, but it's nice to see that Ubisoft listens to its fans. Assassin's Creed Rogue is coming to PC, after all. A developer Q&A hinted at the news last month, but now it's official. You will be able to play as Shay the Templar on your home computer early next year. Can't wait that long? Assassin's Creed Rogue is also out on PS3 and Xbox 360 next month. Now, this third game wasn't officially confirmed when we first heard about it, but the Korean Games Rating Board has revealed that monochromatic platformer Limbo is heading to Xbox One sometime in the future. This one's not really a surprise either. Microsoft loves Limbo developer Playdead, and the game is also available on PS3, Windows PC, Mac, Linux, iOS, and Vita. We will keep you posted as we hear more. In mobile news, Tiny Tower Vegas has just been given some new content just in time for Halloween. There is a new haunted elevator, complete with bats and a coffin, an unlockable Halloween lobby, a giant jack-o'-lantern to put on your roof, and a stack of special spooky missions and themed floors. Peter Molyneux's most recent God game, Goddess, has also received a chunk of new content as the game's first major expansion brings an all-new land along with it on both iOS and PC. Wayworld is the newest addition to the game, a desert-themed island complete with new terrain to uncover and rival tribes to meet, but getting there is no simple matter. You will need to build a massive ark to travel to the new land, which will carry 700 wheat, 500 ore and 500 followers, and for your little people it's a one-way trip. We're guessing it's worth it though. The new timeline you'll unlock gives you the opportunity to blast granite into dust using a comet. You've got even more reason to be excited for the first batch of Mario Kart 8 DLC when it lands next month. We knew we were getting new courses, drivers and vehicles, but Nintendo has just showed us exactly what we can look forward to. Link is one of the new drivers, and this concept sketch shows off one of the new vehicles in store, the gorgeous Master Cycle. Link's mechanical steed features Triforce crests and a Hylian shield, and we're told it has plenty of horsepower. Link will be joined by Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach when the new DLC hits Mario Kart 8 in November, exclusively for Wii U. To TV news now, and it seems we'll be seeing Resident Evil on another new screen as a spin-off TV series is announced for the horror franchise. The series has already spawned a bunch of successful film adaptations, so we're not too worried about how this one will turn out. The unnamed series is planned for some time after the next feature film release, Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. We also, finally, have some news on the Minecraft movie, which was picked up by Warner Bros. In February following the raging success of the Lego movie, but everyone's been pretty quiet about the project since then. Now, we're hearing that Sean Levy, director of the Night at the Museum series, is in talks with the company about working on the project. He's the first name we've heard attached so far. Levy has also worked as a producer or director on Real Steel and The Internship after getting his start in TV with The Secret World of Alex Mack. And finally this week, a quick example of how not to treat your fans. Flight Sim IL2 Sturmovik Battle of Stalingrad is currently available via Steam Early Access, and like many games that are playable before they're finished, it's undergone some serious changes in recent months. Turns out that many fans aren't too keen on the game's new direction, taking their opinions to Metacritic and voting the game way down. Community manager Zach took offence at these reviews, and rather than chatting to his community and asking what the problem was and maybe solving it, he decided to threaten them. If the Metacritic score did not improve, he said, then the development team would shut the game for good, cancelling the project. The actual outcome for IL-2 Sturmovik was maybe not the one that Zach had anticipated. Firstly, there was an influx of positive reviews. Then there was a backlash of negative ones. Then Metacritic stepped in. It turns out games cannot be reviewed on the site until they're actually released. As the flight sim is still in early access, it's ineligible for a Metacritic rating, good or bad. IL-2 Sturmovik Battle of Stalingrad is now happily sitting on the ranking website with absolutely no score attached. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, got plenty more still to come.
For almost 1,000 years, the world believed it was in the hands of the Maker. And now many believe you are the agent of his will. Whatever the truth is, that belief gives you power.
There is a place that waits for a force to hold it. There is a place where the Inquisition can build, grow.
You will resist. You will always resist. It matters not.
Have you seen the lines for your game?
It's pretty long. Yeah, people are waiting hours and hours and hours, and I feel really bad for them. They're just sitting there. At least it's comfortable carpet. I want to try and get them all coffees or something. So yeah.
See, that's a sort of customer relation that we expect from BioWare.
Exactly. We care about our fans.
So we'll start at the beginning. What is Dragon Age Inquisition for people who've somehow missed the memo?
Yeah, a huge open world RPG with a very, very strong story. So BioWare is known for storytelling.
I was about to say again, it's exactly what we expect from BioWare.
That's right. So we're known for storytelling, we're known for fantastic characters that you can interact with, and we're known for worlds that you can have a dramatic impact on as you play through that story. What's new with Dragon Age Inquisition is that we're bringing a humongous open world experience alongside that story. So now we've got snow-capped mountains, massive deserts, swamps, forests, these creepy frozen wastelands, and you can explore all of those, get lost in all of those wilderness areas. There's towns, there's villages, there's different factions that you can bring into your Inquisition. And speaking of the Inquisition, of course, the name of the game. So as a player, as a hero, first of all, you can create your own hero. So male, female, different races, different genders, different classes, different voices, and you can make them look how you want to look. So once you've made your character, you become the Inquisitor. You become the leader of and the founder of this organization of military might, spies, espionage, political, trade, influence, and with this Inquisition, you can take that Inquisition and push it into the world and influence the world, both physically and also in how the NPCs in the world react. So it's a very dynamic world, it's a very big world, a very varied world, and if you get through the story, which is probably about 50 hours long anyway, you've probably got another couple of 100 hours of just getting lost in this world. So yeah, players are going to have a lot of time to get into it.
There are obviously returning characters, so favourites are coming back.
Yep, so we've got Varric, so Greg Ellis is the voice actor for Varric. He's a dwarf, he's a smart aleck, he writes very questionable kind of novels in his spare time, and he has a really great relationship with Cassandra, who's another returning character. So the relationships that you form with these characters is really strong, but they also form relationships amongst each other. So we've got 9 different followers that you can use in your party. We've also got 3 major characters that aren't followers, but they are kind of like second in command to the Inquisition. So that's like Liliana, Cullen, And there's another character that's a new one, so Liliana and Cullen are returning, but the new characters is brand new to Inquisition. Who else we got? We got Iron Bull, that's a new character. He's a Canary warrior. Big guy with his massive horns, big battle axe. So yeah, it's an amazing cast of characters.
One thing that people who are familiar with the series might have noticed is you've dropped the number out of the title of this one.
Yeah, we dropped it out because we were never... The Dragon Age series of games, there was Dragon Age Origins, then there was Dragon Age 2, now there's Dragon Age Inquisition. We were never meant to be a trilogy, and by putting a number on, I know some series go for like 12, you know, but we didn't want to have that sense that players felt like they had to go and play the previous games, because even though all of your decisions and actions can come across into Dragon Age Inquisition, and that significantly changes the world, you don't have to do that. And we want players to be able to get into it very easily, get through the prologue where they learn how to play the game, they learn the basics of the story, and then we just unleash them into this world. And we just give them the world, we give them the tools, we let them play their way, and if they've brought their decisions across from previous games, then they'll have an impact. But otherwise, don't worry about it, have fun.
So how does that work? How can your previous experiences actually carry over this time?
Yeah, well, because of the change in the console generations, that was a big impact, right? It's very hard to bring save files across. So what we've done is we've made a website called the Dragon Age Keep, which players can go to. They can set up their world state. They can go back and look at all the decisions that they may have made in the previous games, create their original character, say this character made this decision and they made this person the king and they had a relationship with this other person. And there's about, I think, 300 different decisions in that one website. And then when you start Dragon Age Inquisition, you can connect to the internet really quickly, bring that down, and that sets up the whole world state for the game you're about to play based on all those choices. But you don't have to. And if you do that, you can disconnect from the internet then and you're good to go. So that's how we do it. So now we can change from, say, PC to PS4 or from PS3 over to the PC. Whatever you want to do. Again, it's just letting the players have control over their experience going forward.
Every great war has its heroes. I'm just curious what kind you'll be.
I'm just gonna come out and say it. Much like punk, survival horror is dead, and has been since the mid-2000s. I say that with a heavy heart because the genre is one of my favorites. Masterpieces like Silent Hill and Resident Evil knew how to scare the shit out of you by exposing the most basic of human fears, simply rendering the player powerless. Also faceless monsters, they help too. Bethesda's The Evil Within looks to resurrect that long-forgotten fear by bringing aboard the grandfather of the genre himself, Shinji Mikami, and throwing you headfirst into his demented nightmare and asking you to survive. Now before I talk about anything else, I'm going to answer the two most asked questions I've seen in regards to this game. Is it scary? And is it a true return to survival horror? The answers, I'm afraid, are no and no. I'll tackle the scary part first. The Evil Within starts off strong, with the main protagonist waking up after being rendered unconscious during a murder investigation at a mental hospital. Except he doesn't wake up in a bed. Oh no, he's strung upside down, surrounded by bodies on meat hooks, Texas Chainsaw Massacre style. If this starting scenario wasn't uncomfortable enough, seconds later, enter a behemoth, clad in a bloody apron and gimp mask, wielding a meat cleaver. What transpires next is a tension-filled cat-and-mouse escape, which had me hiding in lockers, sprinting for dear life, and basically soiling myself every couple of seconds. Alright then, if this is the kind of game I'm in for, I am sold! I took this fearful mentality and sense of fragility into the next chapter, but soon it all but dissipated. What changed? Well, I became a complete badass in the short space of a load screen. I now had a gun, I could perform insta-kill sneak attacks, and the enemies, for all intents and purposes, were just regular dudes wrapped in barbed wire. Sure, limited bullets can be an issue early on, but through a combination of Metal Gear neck snapping and the Resident Evil 4 melee dash shoot exploit, there's not a whole lot that can stop you. And like that, the fear was gone. The survival horror element is trickier to explain though, since every game is essentially about survival. To me, true survival horror is achieved when you feel as weak as a kitten, and firing bullets is akin to choosing which of your children to throw in front of a bus. The Evil Within has you readily popping off shots to solve puzzles, and even throws you into arena-based shootouts, which pretty much kills the whole survival horror vibe. But let's look at this from a different perspective. As a schlocky action romp, it hits all the right beats and is really quite enjoyable. The gameplay feels, unsurprisingly, a lot like Resident Evil 4. The action is quick to get hectic, and the combat controls complement this perfectly, with shooting feeling quick and responsive, and explosive headshots giving you that hell yeah, suck it feeling. The tools you're given to dispatch your foes each fulfill a purpose, from traditional firearms like the crowd-controlling shotgun, to a crossbow that fires an assortment of bolts, like freaking freeze arrows, that would make the green arrow jealous. Each weapon, and even your stats, can be upgraded by finding green gel hidden throughout the levels, which can quickly turn your staple revolver into a one-hit quitter. It's whilst you're searching the levels for this magical upgrade goo that you truly recognize the Evil Within's strongest suit, the amazing visuals. Putting the hardware of the PS4 and the power of the id Tech engine to work, Tango Games have created one of the most beautiful yet disgusting games I have played in quite some time. The gore and viscera is appropriately gross, and some of the enemy designs are really quite inspired, but it's the atmosphere that steals the show. The environments are incredibly detailed and varied with phenomenal dynamic lighting. This combined with the tight cinematic camera and grindhouse filters, more often than not creates an incredibly oppressive ambiance. Honestly, the tensest I felt in this game was during the moments of sheer silence and aloneness, wandering the melancholy hallways. You're out of luck if you're looking for a complex, narrative-driven psychological horror game. The Evil Within feels like a spiritual successor to the later Resident Evil titles, albeit slightly less campy and unfocused. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing. What the Evil Within does, it does well. Combat is frantic and satisfying, the visuals are stunning, and there's more gizzards strewn about the place than a Rob Zombie video clip. If you're in the mood to explode heads and riddle giant, disturbing boss monsters with handfuls of bullets, you might get a kick out of this one. But if you're looking for a horror experience that gets into your head and reduces you to a quivering mess, you may have to wait a little longer, and hope you find it in your restless dreams, in that special place.
As you might remember, earlier this year we visited Insomniac Games in California to check out the awesome apocalypse that is Sunset Overdrive. While we were there, we caught up with game director Drew Murray and creative director Marcus Smith, and we learned that the end time should be fun and that the game was partially created as an answer to the question, what would Iggy Pop do if the world was ending? Fast forward 6 months. The game's now out in a week or so, and Marcus was in Australia for EB Expo. We checked out the Xbox booth, we played a little 8-person Chaos Squad, and we set up to ask him a few more questions. Things didn't go quite the way we'd expected.
Hi, my name is Marcus Smith. I'm the creative director of Sunset Overdrive from Insomniac Games. I'm here to interview Jessica Citizen from Player Attack. Jessica, why do you attack players?
It's just something to do, you know. I think it's really important, you know, in this day and age that players should be attacked.
Do you think it's a little derivative? I mean, we see a lot of games from Activision, from Ubisoft that are attacking players, and yet here you are doing your web thing. Do you ever feel like maybe you're not pushing things enough?
We did think briefly about doing a player hug, which would be sort of a more touchy-feely. Yeah. That didn't really get past the lawyers, but you know, I mean, we did think about it, but we're not sure quite who's copying who, because we've been doing this for a little while, and they keep doing it.
I've noticed they've started to wear dresses that seem to be your thing. How do you feel? Are they copying you a little too much?
I think sometimes, but I really like it when games have really good physics, so they get the proper swishy effect of the dress, because that's part of why you wear a dress, is for the comfort factor. Plus, they're looking pretty.
They're looking pretty. Well, in Sunset Overdrive, that's a game where you can wear dresses. You can wear whatever you want. It's be who you want to be. What do you think about a game that tells a story but doesn't have a real protagonist?
I think it's very important, because I think there are a lot of games out at the moment where the protagonists are bastards. They're just unpleasant and they kill a lot of people, and you don't really have a story about why they're killing people. Right. I think it's really, really good that there are games like Sunset Overdrive where you don't have to fit into a certain mold and you're killing, zombie, overcharged, delirium mutants. Right. I mean, there's a real reason why you're doing that.
That's true. We do kill humans too. I just wanted to break that news.
So what you're going to do is you're going to drop down here, and then here you're going to see all of your options. So you've got your medical, your dental, your vision. Here's where you're going to have your dependents. I mean, really.
We are in Sydney. It's illegal to hug koalas here. Sunset Overdrive, it's also illegal to hug koalas. A lot less because of chlamydia. What do you think about a game that sort of goes back to the roots of video games and tries to be as fun as possible?
I think it's fantastic. There are so many games where it's so dark and it's so dull and you have to just trudge through and it's all about survival and So I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to play a game that's fun and that's exciting and there's rail grinding and explosions and breaking fourth wall and shooting teddy bears at people and that record gun is amazing.
Incredible. I tell you what, those guys are geniuses.
What are you going to do for Sunset TV this week?
I'm thinking about making it a space rock opera, just blowing it out, demons versus angels, they're fighting all against the aliens as well. Oh God, why do we keep those things around, Ted? Oh, not again!
So October 30th here in Australia, what are you going to be doing?
I am going to be sitting at home with my Xbox One playing Sunset Overdrive. Might take a couple of breaks to eat. Probably won't be drinking too much energy drink given that I've seen what it does to people. Sure. But, I'll find some sort of, snacks and stuff and just surround myself and just not leave the house until it's done.
And what will you be wearing?
Pretty dress.
Of course you will.
Hello and welcome to Sunset TV. I'm Brandon Winfrey, and I just found out that I'm going to be a father.
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. Next week, we chat to Ben Penrose from Playground Games about the gorgeous Forza Horizon 2, which has taken the racing world by storm, while Jonny Robot delves into the weird mystery that is the vanishing of Ethan Carter, and Jackson flexes his muscles for a little Super Smash Bros. In the meantime, you can catch us on playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.